now got ourselves a 1.4 meter FMS Corsair, and in the back of our MU-X we find that it doesn't fit in through the back hatch, but you can just barely fit it in through the doors, and it just barely has clearance to the wingtips. And of course this plane, it's a bit complex trying to think about removing the wing. You have to disconnect all the servo leads and everything without a connector. So it's really intended to be transported in one piece. So given that it doesn't leave a lot of extra room back there, what I'm thinking is that I might make a platform to come across the back of it here to be able to put a plane on a second level up above it. And of course that might still allow a small one down below it. So what we're doing is we're thinking that the platform is going to rest on these armrests sort of things for the back seat here. And it looks like if we do it that way, that around about 120 millimeters is what we need to come up from this very edge, and if the support's a little bit farther back, it'll be a tiny bit higher. So 120 millimeters from the that level to clear the tail. And that can then go up a fair ways before it's going to hit anything. And I'm thinking that if it's a, well, I was going to say if it's a tricycle gear plane, the bulk of the platform can be over here. But we'll come up with some designs and then we'll see what we think about the whole thing. Okay, so here's the plan. This is going across the back of the MU-X, about 1300 wide. We'll then have these supports that come down with a little thing below. This is looking at it from the side view. So this is, bottom of this is going to be setting on those armrests with a little thing down below it to stick in to both the cup holder, and there's another compartment on the left hand side that will help keep it in position. So on one side it'll be a wide one, on the other side it'll be a shorter one, a long one and a shorter one. Yeah, I haven't drawn in the vertical support on this end, but obviously there'll be another vertical support on each end. They'll both be coming down like that. It looks like about 120 back from there to there. That I will double check before I actually fasten it on. To make sure that we got clearance up here for the back of that area. The front of the area, there won't be any problem. Bit of an issue as to how we keep it from bouncing around and things like that, so I might have to come up with some sort of anchoring mechanism to hold it down. I noticed up above there's a couple of gaps in the wall that it could have some sort of arm that comes in to fit into those, but we'd have to have something to hold it into place. So yeah, it's a work in progress, but that's what we're looking at doing right now. Well, as is true with a lot of engineering projects, we've had a few changes. First one, this piece here used to be in the middle. And what we found was that while we had the right length to go from between the two armrests back there, it wouldn't fit into the back of it. Even when I put it on an angle to try and get it through the back of the opening, it wouldn't work. So I had to shorten it up, and I'd already put it together, so I left the middle piece where it was and just shortened one end. And then what we've done, we've come up with this neat little arrangement here to get out to where the armrests are. This is upside down, of course, right now. And this sets on the armrest. This is going to be padded. We've got the little block here and a larger block over here. And that fits, this little one here fits in the cup holder of the armrest. And that's going to have padding around it. And this one here, it's got the cup holder on one end, and then it's got a little slot that goes through to a larger opening behind it, and that slot is going to position it side to side. And then of course these are going to be the two ends of that larger opening to position that there. Again, that's going to have some wrapping on it. Okay, so we got these things that come out. I've taken a rasp and I've just made some little tiny slots in there that help it to stay in position when it's out there, and it's got weight on it to keep it from moving around. And I've also attached some points to tie ropes to sort of hold it in place if that's required. I would have used cup hooks, except I didn't have any cup hooks handy, and I did have some extra of these little brackets. So that's just an angle bracket that I've bent to make a tie-down point. And then, of course, just some MDF thin panel that's there covering the main thing. So we'll show you more about how that fits in and everything after we get the pads on it and get it in the car. Well, being one to make use of things I have lying around, I just had this bit of material. I think it's something probably came out of the boat at some stage, but sort of a very tough, soft material. And I've cut bits, and I've used a hot melt glue gun to glue them onto these bits here. I recognize that the armrest has got a little bit of a bow in it, so I wanted extra on the ends here to make sure it's steady. This is the bit that goes into the long part, and that's the bit that goes into the short part of the cup holder. Again, up a little bit higher on the ends. This one I got a pad in the middle just in case it does hit there in the middle. And we will see how we go with that. Here we are at the car. I start out with these things folded down. And of course have it towards me when it's going in. So you can see it just barely fits in there. As I get it in, I get one of them out, set that down, get the other one out, set that down, fit them into their slots. Okay, click it in place. Okay, we got rather bright contrasty conditions here, but you can see how it's fitting into the armrests there. Now wiggle it a bit and it's pretty steady. Okay, we've got these hooks on the car back here. We've got the tab on there so that if we want to secure that from going forward, it does move a little bit forward and back. Mainly that side. This one just got a little bit of play in it. But anyway, I'll probably be having things on there. So we can put an airplane up here in the top, airplanes on the bottom, airplanes in front. And that should help us to transport a little bit more than what we're doing otherwise. I will use these Velcro chocks. We've got another video on how to make these, but I'll have Velcro there, and I will Velcro those on there to help secure the plane that's up here, plane or planes, whatever the case might be. And yeah, if you've got further ideas as to how to improve on it, hey, I'm always looking for new ideas and things like that. So just add them in the comment section below, and together we can come up with some really great stuff. Now, if we're going to use this to transport the Corsair, we need to work out how to get the Corsair in the car. We've got this pitot tube coming out the one corner, and basically that means that that has to go in first. So we get that in first, and we have to get the wing up above the door, nose down, and get the wing right into the corner. And so get the plane inside the car. Okay. And then we take it in further, swing the tail around, keeping the nose up in the air, moving it back and forth a bit. And eventually we get it sitting basically in the middle. Okay. So, that is what you call a tight fit. That's a 1.4 meter wingspan. And for this Isuzu MU-X, that's the most that we can even think about. So we got the Corsair in there without the platform in, because it's just, you just barely get the thing in there anyway. So the thought is we load that first and do the platform second. There. Get this out here. Well, if it wasn't obvious, this actually is the design that I had in mind. So we're trying to just keep clearance for that. So that gives us a lot of room for gear back here, perhaps other planes, a plane up on top. And it would be interesting to think about the FMS Ranger on top of there. Let's try that. Well, it looks like we'd have room for two planes like a Ranger up on top. We note that the vertical fin is touching the top, but if you have a bit of a block down here to hold that up and hold it in place, and that's going to be fine. So that's all good. Lots of room here for one just like it, and then lots of room down here for either some small planes or boxes of gear and things such as that. And playing around with this, we actually see that we can even fit the Mustang in underneath. So you could have two planes like a Ranger up on top, the Mustang underneath, and a 1.4 meter bird with the wings on there in the middle. And yeah, so pretty good space. You still got the space in, between the seats to be able to put some radios and gear like that. Also spaces in between the planes. So that'll enable us to haul a bunch of stuff. You may have noticed that the Ranger had that extra dowel on top of it when I put it in the car. That's because I just couldn't be bothered taking it off. But used to be that I had those supports on the hanger thing close together, such those white tabs would keep the plane level. But then I realized it would be a lot easier getting the P-51 up there if the supports were far enough apart for the tail to go through. So I decided, well, I'll just use the carbon fiber rod that goes in the wing, along with another dowel, just quickly wired on the back there, to hold that one up there. And then, of course, the Corsair sits proudly up there, quite nicely, along with some old things hanging around. But anyway, if you want to see details on how I made these hangers, I've got another video all about that, and I'll give you a link on that down below. Well, thank you for watching today's video. We try to produce a lot of helpful information. Yeah, include some crazy ideas and some really good tips. All of it I trust that you find to be quite interesting. So, subscribe to our channel. You see the link down here at the bottom. And as you do so, browse through our videos and you'll find a great deal of variety there. There'll be tips and tricks on how to do various things, such as what we've shown you today. There's flying demonstrations, there's tips on how to do the flying itself, as well as how to set up your transmitter and all kinds of stuff. So be a subscriber. We would appreciate it, and you'll benefit a lot from it. So this is RC Jim signing off. You have a great day and enjoy your flying.